everyone, and welcome back to Fully Playable Games. So on today's video we are going to be doing some more random pickups. So these are pickups that I've been getting over the last little while, I can't remember how long. And yeah, we've got some really good new additions to the collection. But before we get into everything that I've got, we're actually going to be going on a bit of a road trip. So I have recently picked something up from eBay, or recently won an item on eBay. So we've got to go and pick it up. It's actually about an hour and a half drive away. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go straight into the car, and we'll get that loaded in, and then we'll have a bit of a look at it when we get back. It's actually going to be a new store display that is actually going to be going in the games room. I've got a spot right here ready for it to go. But yeah, we need to go and pick it up first. So let's jump in the car and go and get that picked up before we start anything else. Okay, so we're all loaded up, and yeah, I am absolutely over the moon with this. This is an absolute amazing deal. And yeah, sorry if my camera's shaking a bit. Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll have a closer look at it once we get back to the games room. So I think I've got about a 2-hour drive now to get back home. So what I'll do is I will see you when we get back to the games room. Okay, so we are back from picking up that absolutely stunning standee. So as you would have seen, I don't know how much you'd seen in the video, but it is now in. So we have got the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom store display. Now this was originally designed to have the games in their cases on the shelf so people could pick them up and then take them to the counter. What essentially I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using it as a display for all of my Zelda games on the Switch. And yeah, it is in absolutely brilliant condition. And I got really lucky with this listing because it was a listing that I was watching for probably about 6 to 8 weeks, and just no one was paying it any attention. And I think originally I sent the seller an offer. He immediately rejected it. So I was like, okay, well, I'll carry on watching it. And then about 5 weeks later, 5-6 weeks later, I then get an alert to say that the seller has reduced the price of it. And when I look, it actually reduced it down to about what I was offering him anyway. So I immediately went on, paid, and then made the arrangements to go and pick it up. So I ended up paying £30 for this. Looking them up online, similar ones that I've seen sort of listed. I don't know if they've sold. I can't actually find them anymore, so I'm hoping that they did. But a couple of others that I saw that were listed for £90. So yeah, a absolutely brilliant store display. And as I say, it is in such good condition. So that is actually going to stay where it is now, in the corner of the games room, until we do the update. But where have I put my little remote? There it is. While I was also there, I did pick up a couple of other bits from the seller, but I didn't actually get them on the day. So when I went to pick the standee up, it was actually his girlfriend, I think it was, that was there. He was out at work. So I ended up picked the standee up, got it in the car, then popped round to the local Tesco's just so that I could go to the toilet, get a drink before heading back. And while I was sat in the car park, I was like, actually, we should see what else he's got listed. So I went on to his eBay, had a look, pinged him over a message to say, actually, I'm interested in these bits. You're right if I pop round and grab them. But he didn't get back to me in time. So I think I got a message when I was probably about 10-15 minutes away from home. So I messaged him when I got back. He actually done me a good deal on both of these as well. And they are both Zelda themed. So the first one that we've got is the Legend of Zelda Special Edition DVD. This is from 2006 and was released with the September issue of the official Nintendo magazine. This was, as I say, from the same seller as the standee. Paid £7.10 for that delivered. It normally goes for about £10 on eBay. I'm going to make a little pile over there today, I think. And then the other item that I picked up from him was the Legend of Zelda Melodies of Time promo CD. So this was released in 2003 and it is a compilation of 13 songs from various Legend of Zelda games. It was only released in 2003 in Europe at various PR events. So yeah, really happy to have that. Looking it up online, paid £6.55 for that, and looking it up, it goes for about £9 on eBay. So yeah, not a massively valuable one, but definitely an interesting addition, and a nice addition actually to my soundtrack collection. So I've got quite a good little collection now of gaming soundtracks. So yeah, anytime I can find a gaming soundtrack, I'll always pick them up, add them into the collection. Then next up, I actually managed to get a small NES bundle. So it's got a couple of games and an accessory that I've been after for a while. So the first game that we've got is WrestleMania Steel Cage Challenge. So released in 1992 by Sculptured Software. WWF WrestleMania Steel Cage Challenge is a wrestling game based on the World Wrestling Federation. That's WWF before they were forced to rename. 10 wrestlers are playable, including Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Bret Hart, and The Undertaker. Modes include one-on-one tag team, tag team, WWF Championship, and Tag Team Championship. Now, while I will say this isn't the most advanced looking wrestling game, especially for the era, I actually think the Game Boy version looks better than this. It actually played okay. Now, normally, as normal with wrestling games, I managed to get the life bar down when I was capturing footage, but just couldn't work out how to pin. So it does come with the manual, so I probably need to read that a bit more. I'm not going to say what I paid because, as I say, it come in a bundle. But looking the cart only online goes for about £11. Couldn't find it listed on CEX. Then the next game that was in this bundle was the Battle of Olympus. So this is a 1991 game, and this is an action role-playing game. The Battle of Olympus takes place in ancient Greece, which is being terrorised by Hades, the dark ruler of the underworld. Primarily a side-scroller with some light platforming, the player is the hero with a sword and shield, while just a handful of secondary items come along later in the game. Now, for an 8-bit game, I thought this looked absolutely great, and I will say the audio is really good on this as well. I did find that the enemies had a very small hitbox, so anytime I went in to try and kill an enemy, I would always end up getting hit myself. Looking it up online, it goes for £8 at CEX, £10 on eBay, and as I say, it was a surprise, that one. But the main reason that I bought this bundle was for this next item. And it's sort of a mini collection that I'm going for at the moment. And that is the NES Game Genie. So I have been on a bit of a push to try and collect all of the Game Genies. So you'll see just behind me here, we've got the Mega Drive Game Genie. I've got the Super NES Game Genie over there. The Game Boy Game Genie in the drawers. And the only one I'm actually missing now is the Game Gear one. So that is one that I'm going to be pushing to get hold of as soon as I can. So this was a cheat device that was developed for the multiple platforms. This was released in 1990. The NES Game Genie attaches to the end of the NES cartridge, and then the cartridge protrudes from the console while fully inserted. So when you've got the Game Genie in, you can't actually press the cartridge down. The introduction of the original NES Game Genie was met with firm opposition from Nintendo. Nintendo sued Glab, which is the makers of the Game Genie, in a case Glab versus Nintendo, claiming the Game Genie created a derivative work in violation of copyright law. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know that lawsuit had a bit more of an impact than we would hope, because obviously there was only 5 Game Genies released across the different platforms. But say that though, there was a Super Nintendo one, so they probably did win it. The only Game Genie that I'm now missing, as I said earlier on, is the Game Gear. So the whole bundle, so the 2 games and the Game Genie, are paid £18.40. The Game Genie itself goes for about £12 on eBay. And yeah, basically it ended up being an offer that I sent to the buyer and they accepted, which was really good. Alright, so on to our first new game for the day. And this was one that I actually pre-ordered from Super Rare Games. And that is Postal Brain Damage. So originally released in 2023, the physical version has just been released last month in 2025. Developer Hyper Strange developed the game, and it's classed as a boomer shooter. Postal Brain Damage is a spin-off title from the original Postal series. The game allows you to enter the mind of Postal Dude as you fight your way through a veritable smorgasbord of twisted enemies and bosses across 3 episodes. Now, as soon as the pre-orders opened for this, I jumped on and pre-ordered this straight away. I played both of the other, or I think there's 3 others, isn't there? But I have played them all, but the one that I prefer is Postal 2. Just like the other games, political correctness goes right out of the window in order to create the most chaos that you can. And yeah, absolutely love these games. This one is not a disappointment. I'm hoping that I'm able to select some footage that I can actually include in the video, because it is very not YouTube friendly, should we say. So I paid £35.99 for this. Looking it up online, it's already going for about £28 at CEX, but in brand new condition it's going for £65 on eBay. Right, next up, just a quick one. Obviously, it's something that I mentioned in I think it was my New Year video. So obviously I have now subscribed to Retro Gamer. We've got at least most of the year, I think, already sort of covered. And we've currently got the January issue. This came a couple of weeks ago. So it is covering the Mega Drive arcade hits. I will admit I haven't had a chance to sit down and read it yet, but it's definitely one that I am going to as soon as I can. And yeah, I did also get hold of the December issue as well. So I actually got the wife to pick this up from WH Smith's for me. So yeah, I am starting to get them. I've got a couple already in the collection that we've picked up sort of from various places over the years. But yeah, what I'll do is every time the new Retro Gamer comes out, I'll show it off in one of the random pickups videos. Next up, we have got a box. So it's a box and poly and manual. And this is for a system that is very, very important to me. It was one of the first systems that I ever had access to as a kid. And that is the ZX Spectrum Plus. So yeah, this back when I was younger, I really young, like 3 or 4, my dad had one of these, and I remember playing things like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Manic Miner, and all of the greats on the Spectrum. So we've got the actual Spectrum itself in the collection. We got that last year, I believe. But I ended up coming across this box, and I was like, it is in such good condition. There's no way that I'm not picking it up. And the fact that it had the poly inside as well and the manual just means that it's now complete, because obviously I've now got the console, or the system, sorry, and the power supply in here. And I put it down. So yeah, really happy with that. Ended up paying £24.50 for that. Looking up online, other ones that have, other box only editions that have sold, have normally sold for about £55. So yeah, it seems like I've got a really good deal on that one. But yeah, once again, just nice to have a box for one of the Spectrums. We've got a couple now, so we've got the ZX Spectrum at the top. We've got the ZX81, but we haven't got the outer box for that. And then obviously we've got the two Commodores, the Atari, so we've got quite a few of the retro consoles, as well as actually the Fairchild Channel F. We got that box as well last year, didn't we? But moving on, we are going to be looking at a couple of NES games, or a couple more NES games, because we already had a couple, but all of these are boxed. And this first one is one that I have been searching for a while, and I've been trying to get hold of it as cheap as possible. And it's actually the final game that I need to complete a set, and that is Super Mario Bros. 2. So this, we've currently got Mario, the standalone Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario Bros. 3 up on the shelf, but all complete. And yeah, I've been after a complete version, either just buying the box or having it complete. This one, it is complete, so there's everything in there, and yeah, just absolutely over the moon to finally complete this little subset. So released in 1999 by Nintendo R&D 4. Super Mario Bros. 2 is a 2D side-scrolling platformer. The PAL and US versions were famously very different from the Japanese version. And the reason for that is Nintendo Japan thought that the Japanese version was going to be too hard for Western players, so that's why they sort of redone it, shall we say. I will admit, now that I've got all of the Mario games on the NES, I am probably going to make a start on trying to get all of the Mario games complete in box on the Super NES. But that will be something going forward. I'm not worrying about that at the moment. Paid £39 and a penny for this. Looking it up online, they go for £42 at CEX, and it normally sells for about £75 on eBay. So yeah, really happy to have that one. And as I say, just over the moon to finally complete that little subset of games for the NES. Then next up, we have got it's actually one of the sequels to a game that we picked up recently, and that is Double Dragon 3. So this 1991 beat 'em up game was based a year after the downfall of Shadow Warriors, and the new enemy threatens Billy and Lee as Marion is kidnapped by a mysterious organisation. The English version altered the plot of the game during the translation process, as the Japanese version features a script that is much closer to the arcade game. Now, the reason that I got this, and the reason that I got it in a complete version, was because the seller had this listed for just a absolutely amazing price. So they actually had it listed for £19.97. Overall, the box isn't perfect, but it's definitely in line with the sort of boxes that we add into the collection. Just like the first game, the enemies in the game are very overpowered, but I will say it is easier to hit them in this one compared to the first one, where every time you'd go in for an attack, you'd always end up losing a life. So as I say, paid £19.97 for this. Looking it up online, it goes for £40 at CEX and £60 on eBay. And then the final bit of sort of NES pickups was actually a box, and it is the box for Double Dragon. So this is actually the box and manual, and yeah, the big reason for picking it up is it actually come up in one of my eBay searches just after I'd bought Double Dragon 3. So I was like, do you know what, I'm just going to get it, and then that's another little subset that I can go for. So yeah, I do now need to track down Double Dragon 2 complete in box. Unfortunately, all the ones that I've been seeing recently have all been like £60–70, and yeah, I'd rather just hold out until I can find a cheap one come up. So yeah, happy to have that, and yeah, another boxed NES game. Even though I said that I wasn't going to be getting any boxed NES games anymore, apart from sort of Mario 2, but yeah, it is what it is. Right, so moving on to another brand new game as well. And this is actually another super rare game. This one I actually got, I think I ordered before postal, and it actually arrived. It was already in stock, so it arrived sort of fairly quickly. And that is the Tarius Key. I think that's how you pronounce it. So this is a 2023 action puzzler. The physical version was released in 2024. And basically, the best way to describe this game is it is an escape room type game. So you play the protagonist, Alex Young, who wakes up in a strange mansion. She must solve puzzles in each room before she can exit. Some of these puzzles involve other prisoners, and the ending that the player receives depends on how many people they save. Now, the graphic style of this very much reminds me of sort of PS1. Like PS1, early PS1, Alone in the Dark, things like that. But I absolutely love this game. I will admit, when I picked it up, I wasn't 100% on what the game was, what it was about, or anything like that. I just thought, you know what, I'll give it a go. And it is superb. I got so involved in it, and yeah, very much you're sort of looking around the room, trying to work out. And I will admit, when I was playing it, the puzzles were quite straightforward. But obviously I've only played it for probably about half an hour. It definitely needs a lot more time put into it, but yeah, really happy to hit this one up. It is definitely one that I'm going to be playing a lot of. So ended up paying £28.67. Goes for £30 at CEX and £32 on eBay. Then next up is probably the newest game that we've got today, and that was one that was literally released I think about 2 weeks ago. And that is Donkey Kong Country Returns HD on the Nintendo Switch. So made by Retro Studios, this is a HD remake of the 2010 Wii game of the same name. Donkey Kong Country Returns was the first instalment of the Donkey Kong Country series not to involve the original series developers Rare. The game story revolves around creatures known as tikis, which are new to the series. The story begins as the protagonists are awoken by a volcanic eruption. After a group of evil tikis arrive, they play music to hypnotise the animals into stealing Donkey Kong's bananas. Now, as I say, this is one of the newest games that we've got for the collection. As normal with the Nintendo remakes, it plays really well and looks really good. I've never played the original on the Wii, but we do have it in the collection. But this is one that I'll definitely be spending some time getting into. I absolutely love the original Donkey Kong Country, which we've got on the SNES. Haven't got any of the sequels, but yeah, I have wanted to play these. So yeah, really glad to have this on the Switch now. Makes it a bit more accessible. Ended up picking this up as an Amazon pre-order. Paid £42.95. Goes for about £40 at CEX and £45 on eBay. Then, right, so next up we have got a PS2 game. This one's going to be a bit of a random one. But that is American Chopper. So back in December when we done the last CEX hunt, I actually picked up American Chopper 2 on the PS2. And yeah, I think I was just looking around one night, ended up seeing this, and it was so cheap, do you know what I mean? It was just, I can't understand how the sellers made any money on this, because we ended up paying £3.39 for this. So released in 2004, this is a racing game, and you basically get hired into the shop of the hit TV series American Chopper. Here's your chance to create, build and ride the bikes featured on the TV show. And I have to admit, this one, I actually prefer this one to the sequel. I think it controls a lot better. There's a couple of little elements in it that I thought were a bit janky, but in general, I actually think this controls a lot better than the sequel. So yeah, oh, nearly. So as I say, paid £3.39 for this. Goes for £2.50 at CEX and £6 on eBay. Then next up, we've actually got a Sega Saturn game. So yeah, I've got no clue how I'm going to get it in because I've got no room left on the Saturn shelf. But that is Virtua Fighter. So we have got Virtua Fighter 2 on the Saturn already. And I have really wanted to pick this up. So released in 1995 by Sega AM2. Originally developed for the Sega Model 1 arcade platform. The game was later ported to the Sega Saturn as a release title. In 1995, an updated version called Virtua Fighter Remix was developed and released by Sega AM1, featuring dramatically improved graphics. Now, I have to say, yeah, the graphics on this really do let it down, and I know that when Sega brought out Remix, they actually replaced a lot of these. I think you could, if you bought the original, you could actually send in to get a copy of Remix just sent out to you. I might be wrong on that, I'm not 100%. But yeah, the big reason for picking this one up was, one, I wanted it to go into the Sega Saturn collection so that we had both the Virtua Fighters. I will look to track down Remix when I can, but yeah, to have the original was what I wanted. And also I did pick it up for a future video, so I actually needed it for something that I've got coming up on the channel. And I was actually lucky enough, I was looking online at, so I was looking at CEX, see where it was, and it was actually luckily that it was in Nicky's local CEX. So I was able to send him over the money. He went and picked it up for me, which was absolutely brilliant because, yeah, the price was really good at CEX. So paid £8 for it at CEX. Looking it up online, it goes for about £14 on eBay. So definitely worth picking it up there. So yeah, massive thank you to Nicky for grabbing that for me. So the next game that we've got is actually a sort of upgrade slash replacement. So back when we done the CEX hunt in December, one of the games I actually picked up was Minecraft on the Xbox One. And big reason for picking that up was that I no longer had my Xbox Game Pass subscription, but wanted to get back into the worlds that I'd created in Minecraft. And the version that I got was the sort of earlier versions, like the Xbox One version, and it wouldn't let me get into it. So what I did was I went and tracked down the other version. So this is actually Minecraft Cross-Play Starter Pack Edition, better known as the Better Together update. This is the version that aims to merge multiple platforms under a single version of Minecraft. This version was released in 2017. Now, as I say, this was the one that I should have picked up from CEX, but it was a couple of quid more expensive at CEX. So yeah, I decided, I had a quick look on eBay a little bit about a week or so after filming that video, and managed to find this copy, which I got for £12.97. As I say, at CEX we're charging £18 for it, and on eBay it normally goes for about £16, so got a good deal on this. And yeah, I have been really enjoying getting back into my Xbox One Minecraft world. Right, so next up, we've actually got another store display, and this one very much entails the adage was, it looked bigger in the photos. And that is a new Super Mario U Deluxe shelf display. Now, when I was looking at this in the pictures, it looked like one of the big boxes, a bit like the Xbox case sort of displays that they used to do. So yeah, I definitely thought that this was going to be sort of probably about that big, but yeah, it wasn't. And when it arrived, I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, ended up paying £11.39 for this. Looking it up online, they normally sell for about £15, but what we'll do is for today, just going to put it there on top of Zelda. Okay, so the next game that we've got is another PS5 game, and this was one that I recently picked up from Amazon, and I have to say, out of all of the games that we've got in today's video, this is my favourite. I love this game. I've already racked up about 4 hours playing this game, and that is A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead. So released in 2024 by Stormind Games. This is a survival horror And yeah, it is a single player game with gameplay that focuses on stealth and survival horror. The game is based on the Quiet Place film universe and features a brand new story. The story takes place between the events of A Quiet Place Day 1 and the first film. And yeah, as I say, this game has been absolutely superb. I will admit, after playing this, I was playing this for a couple of hours when I first got it. And I ended up that night, I actually sat down and watched the first film. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to watch the other two films when I get the time. But yeah, this is a game that, this is my current game that I'm playing. Absolutely loving this. So what I tend to do, literally I play it in the pitch black dark. And yeah, just sort of sit at my desk playing it. And yeah, it is superb. Really, really is. If you get the chance to get hold of this, definitely get it. Because yeah, for me, this has been one of the best games that I've played in such a long time. So ended up picking it up off Amazon for £19.99. It goes for about £25 at CEX and £24 on eBay. So yeah, as I say, by far my favourite game on the whole PS5. Probably even PS4 as well. Absolutely superb game. Right, so this next game, once again, is going to be another upgrade. And this is an upgrade to a PS4 game that we got, I believe it was last year. But what I really wanted was I actually wanted a proper copy of the soundtrack. And from what I can see, the only way that's available at the moment to get the soundtrack for this game is in this bundle that I've just bought. And that is Andro Duos 2 MVS Edition. So this is a 2022 shooter and is a sequel to the famous shooter from Visco Studio. The MVS Edition is limited to 500 numbered copies. And as I say, the main reason that I got this was because it had the soundtrack. And yeah, so I managed to get number 190 out of 500. And yeah, this is absolutely brilliant. So it comes with the standard game, standard boxed game on the PS4, numbered edition, reproduction MVS cart, new mini marquee, an A4 poster, A4 soft dipped instructions, original soundtrack CD, move strip, cardboard box, stickers, and pink bubble protection like the MVS original. So yeah, that was the big reason for getting this, was the fact that it had the soundtrack. And yeah, I actually ended up getting this directly from Pixel Heart Games. So really, really happy to have this in the collection. As I say, the music in this game is absolutely superb. It is probably one of the best soundtracks for a game that I've heard in quite a long time. So I ended up getting it for a really good price. I think I actually got it in their sort of Black Friday sale. So paid £39.25 for that. Looking it up online, in new condition, they're going for about £56 on eBay. Couldn't find it on CEX because obviously it's they only sell the standard edition version. Then next up we've got a Switch game, and it is You Suck at Parking. Now with a title like that, I was going to give it a go. Released in 2022 by Happy Volcano, You Suck at Parking is a challenging racing game where the goal is to park your car. You drift through the levels, avoiding mines and other obstacles to reach the empty parking spaces. And I have to say, this was a really fun racing game, and I really like the puzzle element of it. It's definitely a game that you can play in short bursts because it's got very much that sort of mobile game feel. Ended up getting this on a counter offer on eBay. So I think they sent me an offer for this. I countered it and they accepted the counter. Paid £8.55 for it. Goes for £8 at CEX and £14 on eBay. Then next up we've got another PS4 game, and that is Left Alive. Now I will be honest, the main reason I got this was I was looking through, it might have even been this seller for You Suck at Parking. I was looking through their other items. I saw this listed there and it was brand new and sealed, so I was like, do you know what, I'll give it a go. Only paid $5.99 for it, and this was actually a received offer. Released in 2019, this is an action-adventure survival game. Left Alive is predominantly a stealth-based third-person shooter with survival game elements. Players spend most of their time trying to evade enemies and create improvised weapons for when stealth fails or is not an option. The game got an absolutely atrocious Metacritic score of 37% on the PS4. It's actually part of the Front Mission universe. And it's basically by the numbers sort of military survival game. So it very much reminded me of games like what game am I thinking of? Not Destiny, the one based in the city. I can't remember what it's called. I'll put it up if I can think of it. And yeah, it was not popular at all. I will admit, when I was playing it, capturing footage for the video, it worked fine. I didn't have any issues or anything like that. But yeah, it was very bland. And yeah, it was, once again, not added anything new to those type of games. But as I say, I ended up paying $5.99 for that. It goes for £5 at CEX, normally sells for about $6.50 on eBay. So yeah, didn't save masses, but even still, it's nice to have a new PS4 game in the collection. And the final pickup for today is actually one that I have been desperate to get to. And this is actually a strictly limited mystery box. So just before Christmas, they were doing a whole range of mystery boxes. So you had a standard edition PS4 or Switch, or a collector's edition PS4 or Switch. So I ended up going for the standard edition PS4. And some of the possible games that I can get in there are Cotton 100, Cotton Fantasy, Cotton Guardian Force, Saturn Tribute, which we've already got in the collection. I think we've got that on the Switch. And then there's also Death Smiles 1 and 2, which is the one I'm hoping that I get that. That is what I really want, is Death Smiles 1 and 2. But yeah, I haven't opened it. I wanted to open it on video so that we could see together. And yeah, I'm just going to get straight into it. As I say, I've been waiting since this arrived. So I've had this sat here since probably middle of December, and yeah, just been dying to get it open and see what game we've actually managed to get. Okay, so we've got their little Christmas ornament, plus the normal strictly limited sticker. And I absolutely love the way that they packaged this. So it's even in a little envelope as well. So I could have opened the box, but hey ho. So let's have a look. Do you know what? I'm going to use the knife if I can. There we go. Right, and I'm not going to look. I'm going to let you see first what we've got, and hopefully it's round the right way. There we go. So there you go. I think it's that way. That's the right way, isn't it? So is it one of the ones that I named first? No, it isn't. Fox and Forest. I have got no clue about this. I've never played it, never even heard of it. But yeah, it looks interesting. So it looks like a 2D platformer. So yeah, it could be quite interesting. So what I'll try and do is, before I start editing the video, I'll try and capture some footage of this, and then I'll stick down the bottom. I will stick some prices for how much this goes for. But yeah, as I say, it was something I thought I'd do because yeah, it was just a bit of fun, really. As I say, the games that I had listed earlier on were ones that you could no longer buy them on Strictly Limited. But they had some extra stock that they were going to be including in these mystery bags. So yeah, there we go. We've also got the postcard that comes in with it as well. So yeah, it's a new one. It's not one that I expected to get, not one that I've even heard of. But yeah, I'll be interested to play that. As I say, looking on the back, it does look like a 2D platformer. So yeah, that is going to be it. So I'm going to do the totals a bit differently today. Oh, actually, no, sorry. Before I get to the totals, we've got something we've got to cover from last week's video. So in last week's video, I actually said I was actually doing a giveaway for one of the Sega Saturn charging mats. So what I'll do is I will put the winner just down below. And yeah, if you can reach out to me on either Facebook or Insta, and then what we'll do is we'll get you verified and we'll get this sent out to you. But yeah, obviously we had a spare, so I decided to do a giveaway. It's not something I do often, but I thought, you know what, it was a spare, I didn't need it. So hopefully you enjoy it when it arrives. But before we wrap the video up, let's quickly run through the total, because I haven't actually got the CEX or eBay value, because obviously we've got Fox and Forest that wasn't included. I didn't actually know what it was, so couldn't get a price for. So our total pay today was £409.75. Our CEX value is going to be this, and our eBay value is going to be this. So yeah, as I say, I'll be pretty surprised if we've not done really well. I know there's a load of new additions, and yeah, some additions that I'm just over the moon for having in the collection now. But with that said, that is going to wrap up today's video. But before you head off, if you did enjoy the video, don't forget to hit that like button, and if you're not already, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell to be kept up to date when I upload new videos. And yeah, with that said, thank you so much for watching today. Really hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Alright, bye!